In a significant diplomatic escalation after formally rejecting Canada's allegations implicating Indian High Commissioner Sanjay Verma and other diplomats in the murder of a pro-Khalistani activist, that is Hardeep Singh Nijjar, Indian government has decided to withdraw High Commissioner Sanjay Verma from his post, signalling a deepening rift between the two nations. On Monday, the Indian Ministry of External Affairs released a detailed statement confirming that the Canadian Charge d'Affaires had been summoned for a meeting in the evening. During this encounter, India expressed that the baseless targeting of its diplomats in Canada was completely unacceptable. The statement emphasized that in a climate characterized by extremism and violence, the actions of Trudeau government pose a serious threat to the safety of Indian officials abroad. As a result of this deteriorating environment, India has lost faith in Canada's commitment to ensure the security of its diplomats, leading to the decision to withdraw High Commissioner Verma and other targeted officials. The Ministry of External Affairs further indicated that India reserves the right to take additional steps in response to what it views as the Trudeau government's support for extremism, violence and separatism against India. This assertion underscores India's growing frustration with Canada's handling of the situation and the perceived lack of accountability for anti-India activities occurring within the Canadian borders. Earlier in the day on Monday, the ministry confirmed that it had received a diplomatic communication from Canada suggesting that Indian diplomats were persons of interest in an ongoing investigation related to Nijjar's murder. The Indian government described these allegations as preposterous and characterized them as part of a political agenda driven by the Trudeau administration, which they claim is primarily focused on securing vote bank politics. The ministry highlighted that since Prime Minister Justin Trudeau first made accusations in September 2023, the Canadian government has failed to provide any evidence to substantiate its claims. The ministry highlighted that since Prime Minister Justin Trudeau first made accusations in September 2023, the Canadian government has failed to provide any evidence to substantiate its claims, despite repeated requests for clarification from Indian authorities. This lack of evidence has led Indian officials to conclude that the allegations serve as a pretext for a deliberate strategy to tarnish India's reputation for political gains. Furthermore, the ministry pointed to Trudeau's long-standing hostility towards India, citing instances of overt interference in India's internal politics, notably his actions in December 2020. Indian officials argue that these actions reflect a broader pattern of behavior aimed at undermining India's image on the international stage. In the wake of these developments, tensions between India and Canada are reaching a critical juncture. The diplomatic fallout has raised concerns among observers about the future of bilateral relations, which have already been strained in the recent months. As both governments navigate this complex landscape, the potential for further diplomatic actions remains high. Analysts suggest how both the nations respond in the coming days could significantly reshape their interactions. The situation is further complicated by domestic pressures each government faces regarding their national security and foreign policy. As India continues to assert its position on the international stage, the ramifications of this dispute may extend beyond diplomatic circles, impacting trade, cultural exchanges, and public sentiment in both the countries. As this diplomatic saga unfolds, the international community will be watching closely, particularly given the implications for global security and the fight against extremism. The next steps taken by both the governments could set the tone for future engagements, highlighting the challenges of managing complex geopolitical relationships in an increasingly polarized world.